Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namovsky. Negotiating, it's something that we never learn, but it's something that we need to navigate throughout our lives, whether it's for work, our relationships, negotiating for your loved ones, purchasing a product, and basically everything else. Now, when you negotiate, do you jump in and ask for everything, or do you stand back and see what happens? Do you wait? Do you answer immediately? The art of negotiations. And that's today's topic. I'm speaking with Fotini Iconomopoulos, speaker, trainer, and the author of Say Less, Get More. As a child, Fotini was nicknamed the negotiator. She is a master at this, and you'll see why. Welcome to Empowered. Fotini, so good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So to begin with, I was mentoring a group of young university interns, and I told them that I would be speaking with you. And they got super excited and came up with most of these questions today. So negotiating is an art, and women are fearful of negotiating and afraid of saying the wrong thing. How do you prepare for a negotiation?
It's very common for women to feel that way, especially young women. And so they're my favorite audiences to talk to because I feel like they can have the biggest transformation. When it comes to preparing means doing your research. Preparing means knowing externally and internally what's going on. So externally, what are competitive rates like? What is the industry paying? What are job descriptions like in that organization and outside of that? And how do you compare against it? The internal piece of preparation is knowing, what do you bring to the table? What are your experiences? What are your transferable skills? How do they match up with what these folks are asking for? And when you do that, it naturally gives you a lot more confidence because you can see what it is that you're bringing. But if you're not prepared that way, it can create a real disadvantage going in there.
So, okay, let's talk about confidence because that's something that a lot of women have trouble with. And it's a huge factor in negotiating. How do you build that confidence?
Well, the old adage of knowledge is power is certainly something that applies here. So the more you know going in, the more you know about the organization, the more you know about the job, the more you know about the industry, the more you know about the person with whom you're having a negotiation. If you haven't looked up their LinkedIn profile and know what's going on, that's a that's a big miss. But it's also preparing to go, okay, how does my skill set, how does my experience help them? Being able to frame it in words that are going to be meaningful to them, in wins that are going to be meaningful to them. So it's not just talking about stuff for the sake of talking about it. It's understanding how you fit in the organization and why they should get excited about you. That's the kind of the confidence will come when you have done that preparation in advance, when you know how to address those things. So that should a question come up that you're unprepared for, at least it's going to be in your recent memory to go, oh yeah, I've thought about this before. This isn't new and shocking to my brain. I know how to handle myself in this situation because I've considered it.
So, your book is called Say Less, Get More, which I think is brilliant because everybody overemphasizes and overspeaks so much. Tell us about why you wrote it.
The easy answer is because HarperCollins asked me to. So they saw some videos of me online, and we had mutual acquaintances and people that had been kind of saying my name in the industry or on LinkedIn or sharing stuff that I had been putting out into the universe. And so I was very flattered that they came to me. But when I asked the question, why another negotiation book? I've read a lot of them. Their answer was, we think you have a voice that people need to hear. And so when I started thinking that through, I realized that I had read a lot of books that did not work for me. I read a lot of really great books on negotiation and psychology, and I read some that had nuggets that I went, that wouldn't work coming out of my mouth, both from personal experience and from instinct. And so I wanted something that was going to be more inclusive. I wanted something that anybody could read and go, this is useful to me. I'm not left out here. It's not, well, that only works for, those people with privilege and so on. I wanted it to work for everybody. I use the analogy of it's the on-ramp versus the stairs. The privileged party can use the stairs, but everybody can use the on-ramp. So it's trying to make it as accessible as possible.
And I think that's a key here because a lot of people think, this is not for me. I'm not a negotiator. I don't like conflict. I'm not sure that I can do this. But as you said, you've got an on-ramp and you could take the stairs. So when we come back, we're going to go to commercial break right now. But when we come back, I want to talk to you about the bias in negotiation, whether there is bias, whether there isn't bias. And basically, so many women work in male-dominated industries. So I want to talk about negotiating that way as well. So please don't go away. We will be right back.